Tonight, Night on Your Side takes an in-depth look at our state's mental health system.
Nearly 1 in 5 American adults have some sort of mental health issue.
Mental illness, the thing actors pretend to have in order to win Oscars. Now,
with the increased public interest in mental health and healthcare, I wanted to learn more about how the system works. I spoke with a friend and former Army veteran, Robert Stockton, as well as the director of social work at the University of Wisconsin River Falls, Dr. Ogden Rogers, to get an inside look on their personal stories and the state of Wisconsin's public mental health care system.
Well, boy, that's a really terrific question. In, I think, the last 20 years or so, a lot of the federal funding and a lot of the state funding for the Community Mental Health Centers Act has slowly but surely been sort of withdrawn, to the point that nowadays the community services that are provided, particularly in most counties, at least in western Wisconsin, are services that are really only provided to people who have chronic and persistent serious mental illness.
I mean, it depends on what they did over there and what happened to them. But, I mean, a lot of guys didn't react very well. I mean, they needed help. And a lot of guys found help in boozing. I did. And it's one of those things. I mean, these guys need help right away. We needed help right away. And it took too long.
It should be ipso facto that if a country is going to go to armed conflict and it's going to put its citizens on the front line and into harm's way, the contract has to be that when the citizen returns from being a soldier and returns back to being a citizen again, any of the wounds that they have received in that armed conflict require care and attention.
Why the hell did I not get help when I got off the plane? That's the big question. I mean, why wasn't somebody there? Why wasn't anybody? They gave us a month off before we had to report back to our unit. Why wasn't someone calling and checking on us?
Clearly, combat is one of the most brutal experiences in human life. And while it can have terrible physical aftermath, it also at times can have very, very terrible psychological aftermath. And transitioning from the role of soldier, sailor, Marine, airman back to civilian life has always come with some significant challenges that often require support.
Pretty much my buddies in my unit, I had them to talk with, and finally got bad for me where I needed to go seek help. And I went to my veteran service officer, and they got me enrolled in some counseling after a few weeks and after going to the VA for a month before they could even approve it. I haven't seen a lot of changes in the VA. When I got rated, I got free health care with those guys. I can go there anytime I want, but once you go there, you pretty much get passed around from doctor to doctor saying, oh, well, this isn't my field of expertise with your problems. I'm gonna recommend you to this guy. Set up an appointment with him, and a month later you get to see that person.
The history of war in the modern era has always told us that some of our veterans are going to be severely wounded in a psychological way, and we should be clearly setting up systems both within the Veterans Administration and within the various, I don't know what you would call it, landing pads where our citizens come back, colleges, workplaces, there are communities, to provide them with that kind of support.
I did get some private help that the VA recommended to me, and they paid for it, but I saw somebody that didn't understand what I was going through. It was somebody that dealt with family counseling, and I didn't need a family counselor at the time. I needed mental help.
When you hurt, you're going to do something about hurting. And some people are going to do things that are going to be naturally healthy and naturally healing within their own environments. But when people don't have those coping mechanisms, when they don't have that information, you need a behavioral health system that can help accurately assess what's going on with somebody and engage with them to provide them with the kinds of care that they need so that they can stop hurting and start healing. Sometimes that includes pharmacological approaches. Clearly, I think we live in an age where drugs have become a simple answer to a lot of things.
The pills I was taking, anti-anxiety medicine, you're not supposed to drink with. And it's bad news. You black out, you don't know what you're gonna do, you don't know what you're doing. I've gotten in my car, drove home on these pills and a bottle of booze, and it's one of those things, I'm shocked I've made it.
Sometimes they work perfectly, but sometimes they're a very incomplete answer, and people require either social therapies or psychotherapies to support whatever pharmacological approaches are being taken with them. Some people don't need drugs at all. That being said, if you can't get care, it's like water seeks its own level. People will try to do whatever they can to stop hurting.
I had a friend he was on medication and he was drinking, and he ended up getting a standoff with the police and ended up shooting one of them. He had his girlfriend kidnapped and everything, and my family actually got a call because my dad was his recruiter. We're going to try to talk him to get out of the house and go peacefully. He ended up putting a shotgun to his head and shooting himself.
I think we're in a place where people are recognizing at a social level the fact that people need help at times and that we should be providing systems of help. The real problem in our society seems to be that we can't come to an agreement as to how to organize that help and who should provide that help. That's the ongoing dialogue. If we end up not coming to any sort of agreement and things get worse, well, then it's kind of like with any illness. If we didn't treat it, people are going to get sick and they're going to die. And the people that they live with are also going to be not cared for, and they're going to be in greater straits of requiring support.
You used to be great. I can't hate on how you choose to relate, but I know that you had the potential. I understand why you wanted to let go. A lot of pressure in the middle of those shoulders, and we ain't getting nothing but older. Ain't nothing changed but the day we run from, but nobody knows it better than you, huh? One for the bar tab, two for the shine. Just go to your car, do another line. Barely trust them, they're all puppets. Love